Hello YouTube, Pythos here. So this week I'm going to be covering something that is a little bit more along the lines of this YouTube page. This is about what you see before you, me decked out in this fashion. Um, as I explained in one of the other videos, I think, I stated how my style is androgynous. I call it androgynous, although it is a rather extreme version. Um, I guess it would be called extreme. Um, but this last week I did something on a alternative fashion site called Alternative Beauty Reborn on Facebook. It's a group of people who have all different styles and wild looks, and they post them for people to comment on or give compliments and all that sort of stuff. Kind of a support group, I would say, for people who just don't follow social norms or fashion norms or what have you. So anyways, I posted a picture, two pictures, of me in this outfit I threw together. It wasn't really, it was kind of a really thrown together outfit. I didn't have any makeup on or anything, but it was basically I wanted to see what the reaction to this look was. And basically what I have on is a short leather mini skirt, off black hose, boots, and a corset, a bright red corset, and my hair natural. And my opening statement on this picture, on these pictures, was, quote, "There are times I think I was utterly cheated being born into a world where only one gender can wear stuff like this and have hair like this." And then I said, "Pardon the potato face and resting bitch face I was futzing about with an outfit idea I came up with. I do intend to wear this out with full 80s goth makeup and all." Then I did an addendum. "I think many males in general are utterly cheated for the reasons above." See, the thing is, and I get heat for this, I would prefer that androgyny was a little bit more accepted in our culture. That it was not treated so much as a redhead stepchild. It seems to be treated like by our culture. I'm all for trans getting more recognition, getting more freedom, all of those sorts of things. I'm all for that. I'm for workplaces recognizing trans individuals and let them be trans, let them have a choice in how they want to present themselves, how they want to act, how they want to behave, how they want to be identified. But at the same time, what I notice is I don't have that. I do not identify as trans. I have no intention of identifying as trans. Although I kind of fall into that category because, let's face it, my style is a very, I guess, kind of extreme version of androgyny. When I say androgyny, I mean a male body, male features, with feminine or unisex clothing. For instance, this outfit that I have on, it has a man's shirt, man's vest. You could kind of say they're feminine shorts. They're short and they're tight. Okay, so what? The wig, feminine, I know. But the makeup, not really. Yeah, I have lipstick on and I've got eyeshadow on and all that sort of stuff. Guess what? Men wore this back in the day. They don't anymore because for some reason it became, I don't know, out of style. Yes, men didn't wear makeup as much as this, but this is because I've got a gothic bend to my things. My earrings. First of all, they're clip-on. I can't get my ears pierced. I shouldn't get them pierced. But the earring is a yin and yang symbol. Male, female energies, that sort of thing. So anyways, in response to these pictures that I posted, I got the following responses. I think only 1 or 2 males responded to these pictures. These were mostly women. And there's a lot of males in this group. The first response to my post was, I agree how ridiculous it is that clothing has a gender attached to it. More so that there is a stigma placed on males that have to appear dress a certain way when most women can get away with any fashion choice. Her last statement is kind of not correct, because I do know women get a whole bunch of bull for wearing something that other women don't agree with, or for something that is kind of showing pride in their body. You know, you've heard it all. Slut, whore, flutie. That's an old term, I know. The next person, typical, love the outfit, and of course I get this a lot, compliments on my legs. This happens a lot. I get a lot of compliments on my legs, and sometimes I get women saying that my legs are better than theirs. I don't think so. I think it just might be the way they present them, or maybe they're just different. You know, my legs are long, but they're also damn skinny. They're rapiers. I mean, sometimes I can look like a stick insect if I dress not quite right. But also, it's a footwear I had on. The boots I had on were high heels. I'm really high. Um, you know, and again, she says legs so shapely. Another one, got legs for days. Another one, this is sort of more along the lines of what I was looking for. I think that in our society, it's mostly males that need a body positivity movement and a fight for the right to wear whatever they want. And then I followed up with this comment. This may sound silly, but if more women came out in support of it, that would be a pretty strong force for guys to give it a shot. When it comes to the shapely legs, it is the hosiery and footwear. Yeah, that's just me. But my point about this may sound silly, but if more women came out in support of it, I've gotten heat for this at times in other discussions, because I get women saying, "Why should women have to support men? Men should do whatever they want." Well, yeah, but the thing is, there's also this. It seems to be an underlying current that if a guy puts on anything that's feminine, or anything that's outside the norm of masculinity, God forbid they put on a pair of tights, it seems like people think their genitalia is going to fall off, or they're just no longer going to be men, which is absolutely stupid. This is the kind of thinking that is really dumb. And a girl followed up with, I will always speak up in favor of it. Encourage anyone to try. That's very important in my opinion. The double standard is ridiculous. The double standard, yes, because going back into my history, when I was a kid, a little tyke, I think it was around first grade or so, I put on a slip. I put on my mom's one of my mom's slips. It was laying on the ground, because I'd always liked skirts. Ever since I was a little kid, I have liked skirts. I was always wondering why guys couldn't wear them. And I put on the slip, and my mom found me standing there happily in the slip. And she says, "Oh, I've got to show your father this." And I remember this because it really was not a good experience. So my mom took me through into the kitchen where my dad was reading a newspaper, and she was all, "Oh, would you look what we have? We have a little Fruit Loop." Fruit Loop. In my mom's terminology, Fruit Loop is obviously gay. And my dad saw me and started laughing, then really started laughing, and then started calling me a little fairy, and I don't really remember all the other terms and stuff, but basically the gist was I was a bad boy for doing this, and I was I was less than a human. They weren't nice. To a little kid, this was not nice. They were instilling in me a fear of the feminine for guys. That's how I feel. And I think this happens to a lot of guys, actually. I think this is probably what happens while boys are growing up. They are shamed into having any kind of interest in feminine things. I did show an interest in gymnastics or in ballet, and I recall my dad saying, no son of mine is going to do that, blah, blah, blah. That's a very typical thing. I don't blame my parents at all for doing that. I think they were doing what was supposedly the best for their son, because they were taught that, and it just went on and on and on until I came into the picture and started realizing, no, this is bullshit. Okay, back on to the comments. Follow-up comment to my comment. I agree that women need to be a voice and push for more positivity for men in that regard. And then follow-up. That and women should quit not wanting to be objectified and then going on to objectify men at least as bluntly. Kind of a point there. I have seen where there are women who don't want to be objectified, and understandably, but at the same time, they hold men to standards that are set by society, that, like manly man, or stuff like that. Okay, back into the main comment section. I support it too, and damn leg envy. Okay, yeah. You look amazing. I think you look great. You definitely suit this type of style. You should wear whatever the fuck you want, and if anyone has a problem with it, tell them where to go. Women wearing men's clothes all the time, so who cares what gender the clothes. I'm sorry. Who cares what the gender the clothes are labeled as? Do you, you beautiful goth creature. Nice. Yeah, she's on a point as well. Women have been wearing men's clothes for quite a while. There used to be laws in France that prohibited women from wearing pants. And those same sort of laws existed in the United States. But women fought for it. But also, it wasn't just women who fought for it. There were men that stood for it as well. This is forgotten. Of course, during the 50s, women were not to be seen outside of the house in dungarees or things like that unless they were doing gardening, of that sort of stuff. Not really that knowledgeable of that time. I just know that there were stereotypes for women and limits placed on women, as we all know. Let's see. People should be able to wear what makes them feel like themselves. You look amazing. That's just perfect. Dude, you rock that outfit better than I could ever dream of. Keep going strong. Gonna stop with the comments because they're all basically the same. They're all basically supportive, basically on the side of guys getting more freedom in their attire. Around the 80s and stuff, androgyny was sort of getting a hold, but it was mostly in rock music and that sort of thing, counterculture sorts of things. But it's sort of died out for a while. We started getting a resurgence of, uber masculine stuff, and getting a recall of guys doing what I do, being called gay. This is something else that's really annoying, is having people automatically determine my sexual orientation. Just so you know, I am straight. I prefer women. I prefer the feminine. I have a girlfriend. You've seen her in my videos. She has also stated in the past how she wishes more men could express their feminine side, or not really the feminine side, but a more freedom in their style, a mix of the two. And so it's like, it's kind of stupid the way our cultures in general, but the Western culture has sort of infected all other cultures as well, where men have to be considered serious in a situation, they have to wear a three-piece suit or a suit and tie or this sort of nonsense. That was another point that I brought up in another discussion, was how a male's ability is based on what he's wearing. This could also be true for women as well, but not to the extent that it is for men. For instance, despite my appearance, I actually work in aviation. I fly aircraft, I work on aircraft, and I test flight aircraft. These are all very high responsibility positions in life. I keep this away from the FAA. I keep my style away from the FAA for the most part, because people come up with these stupid conclusions, like somehow I'm mentally deficient for doing this, which is ridiculous. Would you say that's ridiculous? Because that's what happens. Going back to the trans issue, years and years ago at my airport, a fellow went through transition. The FAA did everything that they could to stop this individual from flying, to the point of saying that all of the tests, all of the certificates, all of the requirements that they did to be a pilot were null and void, because as far as they were concerned, the individual that held those certificates was dead. And that individual had to go through all the training again. All of it. The hate this individual got on the field was the insidious sort. The being nice to their face, but really horrible to them behind their back. It was awful to experience. At the time, I was a little kid, and I sort of kept my mouth shut. I didn't speak up. Just seeing what happened with that situation was just horrible. I don't want that happening to me. I understand that trans, again, are getting more freedom when it comes to the FAA. The FAA is no longer considering being trans a disorder worthy of having someone having their license revoked, their pilot certificate revoked. This is not to say I don't know how the FAA would react to what to them would be a cross-dresser. Because remember, in our culture, cross-dressers are also kind of bonkers. They're always depicted in the media as bonkers. And that's something else, is how the media shows androgynous individuals. Androgynous females, they're sort of treated with respect. They're in many cases, they have manly traits. They act sort of manly, but they're still women. They're still regarded as women, and they're still treated pretty much with respect, except by the antagonists in whatever show it is. Male androgynous, on the other hand, are too often, at least what I've seen, are also commonly associated with being gay men. Let me be clear on this. I have no issue with homosexuality. I do have issue with the automatic linking of something like being androgynous or being a cross-dresser with being gay. It's kind of BS that is still a situation. Once again, women, it doesn't happen so much. You're not automatically lesbians, though a lot of them sometimes are. But definitely for the male characters, it is, or just definitely seems to be, they're either gay or they're trans. They're never just androgynous. They're never just, this is how I am. There's always an underlying thing. Now, again, also, male androgynous characters are very, very rare. Um, also, something about my androgyny, like I said, I cross-dress. That's what people would say. I am a cross-dresser. Well, based on the actual definition of wearing the garments of the other sex, yeah, I guess I could be a cross-dresser. However, what I understand about cross-dressers is they dress to appear fully or partially female. They try to pass as women. They will wear breast forms. They will wear hip pads and butt pads. I don't do that. I don't do any of it. I work with my face as it is. I'm not trying to fill cracks, although this darn cavern underneath my chin, it'd be nice to do something about that because it's annoying. I've had it since I was a little kid. I think perhaps it was the exposure to newsprint on paper that I carried as a paper boy. So Mom sort of said it's probably from you rubbing that stuff into your chin. I'm not sure how that could have happened, but hey, who knows? So one of the videos wouldn't be complete without the input from Amber.
Yay! Oh, I look horrible.
Oh, okay. She looks horrible, so I shall keep her hidden. So you shall have a voice coming from the ether.
Oh gosh, where do I start? Well, like you had said, I do agree, or I would like to see people be more open with their styles. And I guess in some way, okay, you know how the whole gender thing is taken off, the whole transgender thing is taken off.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess in some way that can help androgyny, although I think the way they're kind of going about it seems to be very binary.
Mm-hmm.
So in that way, it's kind of still restrictive, unless they're going, of course, unless of course they're like doing the whole non-binary thing, which again is androgyny, isn't it?
Right. Oh yeah. Let's talk about that.
Uh-oh.
Non-binary. If you're talking about the fact that you feel like you're both boy and girl, it used to be called androgyny. I actually heard someone say, well, we don't really use the term androgyny because it's always associated with rock and roll and all that stuff. It's like, what's wrong with that? My God, you are being associated with people like David Bowie and you have a problem with this? I mean, come on. Androgyny isn't just whether you feel like, first of all, I don't feel like anything but me. I have no experiences outside of being raised a Catholic, white, middle-class boy. That's my experience. That's my experience. I can't say that putting on clothes like this make me into a woman. No, they don't. They don't change my sex. Non-binary. I don't understand why they took this term non-binary instead of just saying androgynous. I am androgynous. There's androgyny, which is a mix of a male and female in style or behavior or whatever. In me, it's style for the most part. And then there's intersexed, which is biological mixture of male and female, quite literally. This is not accepted in our culture. In fact, to the point where if a boy or girl, if a child is born with ambiguous genitalia, an operation is done to make them. Usually, it's female. They make them female, and they have all kinds of issues in their lives. I had to look into this, and it's kind of screwed up what some countries do. Germany has stopped the practice, as far as I'm concerned, as far as I know, And I think the United States only recently stopped that practice. But this was going on in our society. And I cut off Amber, and so I'm sorry, Amber. Would you like to continue?
Oh, that's fine. Yeah, I don't know what that whole like crybaby about like it's associating with rock and roll and whatnot. And another little last snippet of just about the trends, and I'll go on to something else. That I think again, where I feel like it's binary unless you go, it's binary unless you say you're non-binary and you got the fluid and all that stuff. So I think it does kind of help androgyny, but at the same time it changes it and kind of makes people a little more hostile to it depending on who's the advocate, because sometimes activism can be kind of, and I think a lot of the trans nowadays, how I interpret it when you're going non-binary, because non-binary would kind of throw out the assumption is that you're not going to transition, that there's a part of trans now that is more like transcending the idea of gender than actually what do you call it? Than actually changing your gender, transitioning. So there's that.
Right.
On my topic, there's a lot of women who enjoy androgyny. You can see that. You got a lot of fans of like certain movies where the star is androgynous. And like you would even mentioned, the whole rock and roll and the whole entertainment industry with that. So there's nothing wrong with it. Obviously, there's nothing wrong with it, but I think people actually like it more than some people will admit. When it comes to preferences, not everyone's really open about it. And the fact that you went back into history it is very funny. Well, not funny, but you can see it like in history, like especially like with the French, like back in the days when they like some of them would wear makeup and stuff.
Yep.
And then of course they wore leggings and ruffles and lace.
Lots of lace.
Wigs and stuff. So, and some of those women went into battle and stuff. Not dressed like that, but they, on their time. But, it's interesting to see that. But yeah, there's preferences. And I think anyone who's kind of going into the Gothic subculture appreciates androgyny on some level. And again, not all like Gothic subcultures have it, but a lot of them do. So there's that appreciation. Anyone who's kind of into like any other kind of quote unquote freaky style is into that as well. I know I enjoy things that are different. And so that kind of plays into that. But yeah, I think it's just societal. I think you'll get some pushback by some of the more pushier trans people giving people a bad name.
Mm-hmm.
But I think overall, with time, when that calms down, that it'll be more accepting, and they might actually think you're transgender even though you're not. But it's just something that comes with the territory.
Oh yeah.
And I think if enough people get on and talk about androgyny in the kind of, I'm trying to think of the word, in the way of androgyny in that category.
Mm-hmm.
Using the wrong word there.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it'll be understood a little bit more.
Right.
That's just my 2 cents for now.
All right. Great. So before I close this, let me just be absolutely clear, so people don't think wrongly about this. I have no problem with the trans movement. Only problem I have with the trans movement is it's kind of putting a shadow on androgyny itself. The trans movement involves, people changing their bodies, and I'm not. That's not for me. As that's not my bag, shall we say? So I have no problem with the trans movement. I think the exposure that they're getting is pretty darn good, and it's about bloody time. Laverne Cox in Orange is the New Black I think is a very good role model. Same with one of the Wachowski brothers who transitioned. Actually, I think they both did now. I don't know. I know one did, and what a tremendous person. They're they don't really wear it on their sleeve. They just are trans, and more power to them. I just wish, basically, I wish freedom of expression, freedom of gender expression was across the board. It wasn't just for trans people. Like, I should be able to go to a job interview, maybe in a little bit more toned down outfit than this. But I should be able to do that. And I should not have held against me for a job interview or at my work or flying. It just shouldn't be. And frankly, as a culture, we have to get away from that. So anyways, please comment with what you think in the comments below. And we'll see if I make another video next week. If not, it might be the week after. It depends on what's going on and what is all going on outside in the great big world. All right, thank you.